Hi, friends from FansWorld. I'm here in southwest London, Putney to be correct, to be exact, with Camilla, and we're going to go and have a little chat.
I turned on the lights, the TV and the radio. Still I can't escape the ghost of you.
I've had a 6-month break, and we all have. All Duran Duran's had a 6-month break, and we did a very long project before, which started. It really started in about 2008, 2009. So we were working for 3 years on the album which we made with Mark Ronson. This is the album All You Need Is Now, our latest album. And we had a fantastic tour, which from start to finish went for 20 months. And at the end of that, I said, guys, don't expect anything from me for 6 months. I need to have a break from Duran Duran, because otherwise it starts to get as though there's nothing else in your life. And I want to be in Duran Duran. I don't want to feel that I've got to be in it. You know what I mean? And I think everybody's felt really good about the fact we've had a big break. Spoke to Roger. He's so happy that he got a chance to spend time with his new baby. You know, I've been able to do some stuff myself. I've been away, been travelling, done a lot of sailing, done some charity work as well. And actually, we're starting work on Monday, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to getting back in the studio. Well, before a show, I've got a very serious warm-up technique, a routine that I have to go through. You know, I lost my voice in the middle of the tour, towards the beginning of it actually, and I lost it in a very profound way. I lost a whole portion of my range, and I had a bleed on my vocal folds, you call them, so things that vibrate to make the sound. And I did a lot of therapy. I was out of action for 3 whole months, and I had a great teacher, Ruth Epstein is her name, and she taught me. She's given me this great warm-up routine. It only lasts 12 minutes, but if I do it just before I go on stage, I'm fully warm and ready to go before I hit my first note. Sailing is something I do a lot of. I'm very lucky because when you're in a band, people are always asking you out on boats and things. Come on that boat, and very early on I started to get into the sailing side of things, and I started doing racing. I did a round the world race. I did a Whitbread round the world race in 1985. So I've had a lot of experience. I've done a lot of it, and now I've got a very good friend who's got a fantastic racing boat, amazing boat, and he invites me to come and sail on it. It's mostly crewed by professional sailors. And I actually think that the reason he wants me there is not because I'm a great sailor, but because I bring the guitar, and in the evenings we play songs. I wrote a song afterwards, and from that, I did actually started writing the lyric when I was on that. It's called "Grey Lady and the Sea," and it goes, "Blow, grey lady, blow your ships back home, blow your ships back." First Duran Duran gig was somewhere around Birmingham, but I wasn't in the group. I joined the group after they'd played about 5 or 6 shows, I think. My first gig with Duran Duran was at a club called the Rum Runner, which was on a street. It's called Broad Street. Now, it got knocked down. There were a lot of warehouses there. They all got knocked down, and they built a new development there. So when we went back there to play in Birmingham it was before last Christmas, we figured out roughly where the Rum Runner was, and we think it's now the Park Hyatt Hotel. It's if you're in the health club at the Park Hyatt Hotel, you'd probably be just about where I was when I was standing on stage for my first show with Duran Duran. Always going to be a great music scene in London. People get a bit sort of, they react very strongly to stuff that comes on television. And recently a lot of people have been complaining because the charts seem to have been dominated by a lot of music from America and a lot of music from shows like The X Factor, like Britain's Got Talent, like Pop Idol, like all that sort of stuff. And I don't see a problem. I don't see the problem. I think there's space enough for a lot of different music. I'm not a big fan of those TV game shows, but you know what? My mum loves them. You know, it's real entertainment. A lot of people, Saturday nights coming up to Christmas, they'll be glued to their televisions, and because people vote for their favourite artists, it's interactive entertainment. I don't necessarily think it's good for music, but I don't think it's such a bad thing. You know, it just doesn't take up a lot of my brain space. But you know, you can go and see fantastic bands. You know, we have bands like Foals and there's always great Wild Mercury sound. There are lots of new bands happening all the time, and I'm sure you'll be talking to them. And they have a great following as well, because you've got these little tiny clubs dotted all the way over the UK, not just London. Little places where bands can play, places like Monto Water Rats, where Radiohead and Coldplay started. Like there's a place in Camden called Barfly, little place that holds maybe 150 people, and that's where these bands get their first chance to perform in front of people. My daughter Saffron, she was in a little band called 13 the Brave. They don't exist any longer as a band, but she used to play at places like the Notting Hill Arts Club. You know, there's a very strong music scene here. I think it's fantastic. Internet has had a huge impact on music, not just because of the fact that downloading has meant that records don't make so much money. Of course, the upshot of that is that bands have to go and play live now to work and to earn money, and that brings you much closer to your audience. That makes music much more raw, and in a funny sort of way, the fact that you can't just sit in a studio and make it and then put it out there, it makes it more. I just think it makes it more real. And you've got the internet also creates a two-way street, so you literally interact with your fans. You do something, they come back to you, they tell you what you think, you come back to them. It's a circle that is constantly turning, and I think that's really good too. And you've got and you have acts who completely are broken by on the internet. People like Lana Del Rey, she only exists because of the internet. She wouldn't have a career really if it wasn't for the internet. And I think that's fantastic, and she's so talented and wonderful. But it gives people a chance who don't have the backing to make space for themselves. I really like Twitter. I enjoy it, and it's mine. It's not Duran Duran's. And it's not management's. It's not Simon, you've got to sell this new record. It's about me communicating with anybody who is interested, and me listening to them as well. I don't use it as a business tool. I think and you can see when people start pushing things, like they say, "Oh, I'm wearing my new Burberry's coat today," and that sort of stuff, and you know that somebody's paying them to say this stuff. Or I have a fabulous twinkle bread maker which I made with my breakfast, and these people, they start to try and sell you this shit. And I won't have anything to do with it. And I've been approached before by some big companies and they've said, you know, we'll give you money if you promote our thing with on your followers. I mean, I don't have a huge amount of followers. I've got 97,000 followers. That's a lot of people. And you know, there's people there. If I say, you know, you should try, if you should buy this, some of them would go and buy it. So there is a responsibility there. And the way I see it is it's a responsibility to be honest and true to yourself. As soon as I open a newspaper, I put on armour, because I know that there might be something horrible in there about me or somebody I care about, or Duran Duran. There might be something that upsets me. So I put on this armour, but to do it every time you open your computer, you forget. You forget sometimes, and so that is the downside of it. But you have to take it, and you've got to be tough. You've got to be tough enough to take it. If you're going to get on, you've got to be able to take it as well as dish it out. Well, we've had some over the years. We've had very funny stories. I mean, I checked into a hotel room in Tokyo very early on. I think it was the second time we went to Japan, and I opened my door. Put on the TV, found the mini bar, open myself a beer, sit on the bed, flicking through the TV channels. My suitcase arrives. You know, ding dong, no suitcase. Get my suitcase, I bring it into the room, open up my suitcase, take out my hanging suit bag, open the wardrobe door, and there's a fan in the wardrobe. How, Simon, can you sign this, please? How did she get in there? No, I signed. Funny enough, I have to say that it's not so much a venue, but it's the country, Argentina. We probably have a bigger, more vocal, more expressive following in Argentina than anywhere else in the world, possibly with the exception of Italy. But I love playing. I mean, Luna Park has been great to us. We've had some fantastic shows there, really great things, and I'm looking forward to coming back. Other venues that I love, I really love the Manchester Evening News Arena. That's a great room. It's like it's an arena. It's very steep, and you can sort of see the people in front of you like that. They're way back, but the way it is, it builds up. It fills up with energy. It bursts out. It's a magnificent place.
In a snow-filled sky, we'll make it all right to come undone now.
You become hypersensitive. And to everything. Everything is brighter, everything is louder, everything feels better because your senses are completely on maximum. At the same time, your body is absolutely exhausted, so it's difficult to wind down. And this has been a problem for a lot of artists in the past. You know, they come off stage and they can't go to sleep because their mind is so excited. And that's when you get people taking sleeping pills and taking drugs on the road. And that's partly how that whole cycle begins. So you have to be careful of that. I like to come back, get a book, maybe have a bath, you know, have a drink, relax. So I really start my working day at about 6. I have a shower, I get myself ready, I put my clothes out, I do my makeup, and I get dressed, and then we go to the venue. And when I'm at the venue, I do my warm-up and get ready in that way, and do whatever meet and greet we have to do before the show. And then 8 o'clock we hit the stage, and we're on for 2 hours. So 10 o'clock, around 10 o'clock is when we finish the show. And then it takes me about half an hour just to cool my body down. So I go into a shower at the venue, have a cold shower sometimes just a warm shower. just to bring everything down as gently as possible. And you know, I'll maybe have a little tiny bite to eat at the venue, or a drink maybe, and then go back to the hotel and try and come down more, read, watch a bit of TV, probably get to sleep, if I'm lucky, before 1. And then I'll sleep until 10 or 11 the next day.
We'll make it all right to come undone. Now we'll try to stay blind to the hope and fear outside.
I use paper, particularly for writing. I like to have paper and pencils. So I'll be writing when I go into work at the studio next week. I'll have a pad and a pencil. Paper also, you know what you do with paper as well. You sort of you decorate it as well, and that often can point to certain things that you've written. Subconsciously, you decorate things that are important to you that you haven't realised that that's important. And when you come back and you start looking at it, I find the best bits of writing are the things that have the most drawings around it. I've got many songs. I went to dinner last night with a guy who I'd not met before, and he's a bit of he's follower of Duran Duran, and he's one of the guys who's at the table. And he said to me, he says, Simon, he says, you know what your best song is? He says, Secret October. He says, there's so much poetry in that song. And there is, actually. You know, I wrote a line which went, free fall on a windy morning shore, nothing but a fading track of footsteps to prove that you've ever been there. And that's one of the best things I've ever written. The first vinyl I bought was the soundtrack to Stanley Kubrick's A Clockwork Orange by then Walter, now Wendy Carlos. Oh my goodness! Oh wow! Well, it ain't a violin, right? It ain't a machine gun. Oh wow! Oh my goodness! A charango! This is fantastic. Never seen one before. Charango. This is fantastic. It's beautifully made, really beautiful. It's what sort of wood? Why, thank you. I'm a sailor, but I love being near the water, and I mean, it's just a beautiful place to be. I love boats as well. I mean, look at this boat here. This is called a slipper launch because it looks like a shoe. See that one there, the white one? I love seeing things like that. And you get, and the river's just, well, it's just constantly moving, isn't it? It's flowing. Today, you see the water's going that way, that's upstream. So it's called a flood tide. You have the flood tide and the ebb tide, because the sea's that way. So it's all coming in now. Yeah, I just like being near the water. Friends from FansWorld, I'm Simon Le Bon. Thanks for spending the time with me. I hope you love Duran Duran's next record. I'm off to go and make it, and I'll see you soon. Wood.